Hey guys, I'm doing a part 2 video of weird British things today. So as you know from my other video of weird British things, I have a long list of things that I noticed on my phone. And I'm really glad that I started this list actually when I first moved here because I realized that a lot of these are just not even a surprise to me anymore now that I've lived here for like a year. Um, and it's just really funny to go back and you don't really realize that you just get used to things as you live in a place. So anyway, yeah, so randomly going through this list, again, there's no order or category or anything like that. One of the things that British people say when they're trying to say, are you kidding? Are you joking? You know, ha ha ha, that sort of thing. They say, are you taking the piss? And I guess it's kind of like, are you pulling my leg? That sort of thing. I had never heard that before. So when I first moved here and I was at a bar with my old, like one of my old flatmates, and I had met this guy that was sitting at the bar and we started talking, and I was telling him some joke or another. I have no idea what I was saying. And I was telling him whatever it was, and we were laughing so hard. And then as he's laughing, like mid laugh, he was like, "Are you taking the piss?" And I actually thought that I was laughing so hard that I like peed my pants or something. So I looked down and I was like, no. Why would you think I'm taking a piss? And he's like, no, are you taking the piss? I said, no, I'm not taking a piss. Because, taking a piss is like peeing, taking the piss is joking. Quite weird. Also, the word piss. So if you say, oh, Jamie was really pissed last night, it means Jamie was really drunk. Pissed off is being pissed off. Whereas back home, I think we can just say like, oh my god, Jamie was so pissed last night. Like, so pissed off. But here, pissed means drunk. Odd. What else? People roll their own cigarettes. So, I mean, it's not completely unusual, I guess. I have seen it before in Toronto, but it's not like a normal thing. So I think people that normally smoke cigarettes buy the packs that are pre-rolled, whether it's Belmonts or Players or Demoria or whatever. And only, in my experience with my friends and circles of people that I hang out with, only people that are trying really, really hard to save money or people that went to like, I don't know, somewhere and have like an Indian Reserve connection or something, they get like a little bag and they roll their own and they get little papers and things like that. I would say here, like, I don't know. I don't even want to give you a percentage, like 20% of all people, because I'm probably very wrong. But I see people, like, walking around rolling cigarettes while they're, like, walking to the tube station or, like, sitting behind a building waiting for their friend, like, rolling a cigarette. Like, I don't know. If I were to smoke them, I would probably pre-roll like 20 of them and put it in a pack before I leave the house. But people are just so used to it. They're really, really good. They will like, they can just roll a cigarette in like 10 seconds. Like, it's so fast. Anyway, it's an odd thing I noticed here. I think it's mostly a European thing as well. Okay, you can drink in most movie theaters. I know. Very weird. I don't know if it's a British thing or a European thing. But the first time I went to a movie theater, which is also called cinema here, it's not called a theater because a theater is like a play theater. So when I first went to the cinema with a friend of mine, she was asking me, "Oh, do you want a drink?" And I'm thinking, like, I don't really drink pop, and I have a bottle of water in my bag. And she's like, "Oh, do you want some red wine or white wine?" And I said, "What? You can't drink in the movies?" But yes, you can. Um, the rules just aren't that strict here. Like in Toronto, where we come from, places have to have alcohol licenses, and only certain licenses are available in a certain city block and things like that. But I don't know what the rules are like here. But it's definitely a lot more relaxed than it is back home. So most theaters, cinemas, have bars where you can buy drinks with like real wine glasses, and bring them in. That's cool. This is really hard to explain because I don't really even understand it too much myself. There are streets called a high street. Um, how do I explain this? So first, when I was looking for flats or something, and when I first moved here, and I was talking to another person, and I said I want to live in kind of an area where it's easy to walk to grocery stores and pharmacies, and It's not so out in the suburbs that you have to drive to go somewhere and you can't even find a corner store or something. And she was saying, oh yeah, you just want to live near a high street. And I'm like, well, where's high street? And she said, no, there's a high street everywhere. And I just didn't understand the concept. So basically, high street is a street or an area that has big shops that you need to live. So most neighborhoods have a high street. So like Clapham, which is a very Australian neighborhood in southwest London, they'll have like Clapham High Street, and that's just a high street in the area of Clapham that has majority of things like restaurants, cinemas. So it's like a main road, I guess. Um, so if someone says like, "Oh, go to the high street to get something," they're not telling you to go to a specific street. Like there's a street called High Street. There are high streets everywhere. Does that make sense? It's really odd. And when you see ads for like discount products, it'll say half the price of high street stores. And you're like, where is this high street you speak of? It's kind of a thing, not really a place. Anyway, odd. What else? What else? What else? No drive-thrus anywhere. I don't think I've actually seen any drive-thru, whether it's a bank or fast food. Nothing. No drive-thrus. Not even a coffee shop. Obviously, there's no Tim Hortons here, and I don't think Starbucks does drive-thrus back home. But still, no drive-thrus at all. Very odd. But not many people drive here, so maybe that's why. Sick means to throw up, not necessarily ill sick. And also, the word sick could also mean vomit. So saying, I was really sick last night means I was pukey. And you could also say, oh, there's some sick outside. Like, use it as a noun, like, there's a pile of vomit. Whereas if you want to say I'm ill, like I'm sick, you would say I'm ill, or I'm at home with sick. But then sick also could mean I'm at home with a pile of vomit. Very odd. I'll go through some words with you guys. Obviously, you know that bathroom/washroom they call loo, and they also call the toilet. I think when I first heard somebody say, I was trying to call somebody when I was over at their place, being like, hey, where are you? I couldn't find them in the flat. And they were like, oh, I'm in the toilet. And I had this like image of this person like actually falling in the toilet. I guess in a way that they would say I'm on the toilet, but in the toilet for them means I'm in the bathroom or in the washroom. No one says water closet anywhere in the world that I've heard of, but still bathrooms/washrooms/loos/toilets have signs that say WC. Odd. No one says powder room either. Elevators are called lifts. I haven't really heard that before, but I think I knew that before I came. So a funny word that I learned when I first came here was the word dodgy. So when I say the word shady, like, oh, that motherfucker is shady, people here will say dodgy, or they'll shorten it to say, oh, that guy is super dodge. I don't know where it comes from. I guess if you're being shady or like evasive, you're dodging stuff. I don't know if there's like an actual literal meaning to it, but you'll hear the word dodgy a lot. Subway is tube, obviously. Eggplants are called aubergines, and zucchinis are called courgettes. Now, Australians, I think, say it the way that we do, North Americans do, or they say it the way that British do. It's one of those things, but I've had many discussions with Aussies and British people about why they call eggplants aubergines and zucchinis courgettes. I get them mixed up a lot. And peppers, like red pepper, yellow pepper, they call them capsicums. And I know these are not just a British thing. I think it's mostly actually a European thing or something, but very odd. Yeah, so when you go to the grocery store here and you see like aubergine, don't think it's some like brand new vegetable you haven't seen before. It's just an eggplant. Apartments are flats. Houses could also be called flats. It's just a living arrangement. Living quarters is called a flat, whether it's flat or not. Odd. Liquor stores are called off licenses. So when I first came here and I was walking on the street or something, and there was this corner store that sold various things, and it had a sign outside saying off license. And I asked my friend, what's an off license? And they said, oh, it's a liquor store. And then I said, is it like an illegal liquor store? Is it not licensed? Is that why it's called off license? And they looked at me like I was stupid. They're like, no, it's just called an off license. I was like, well, what the hell is an on license then? Why is it off license? Is it licensed? Anyway, none of it makes sense. It just means some place that sells alcohol. But not all the places that sell alcohol need to be called an off license. I don't know. Takeout, so like takeout food. So when you go for takeout or delivery, and they call it a takeaway. So when you go to a coffee shop and you order something, they'll ask you, is it for here or is it takeaway? It makes sense. I just haven't really heard that before, and now I'm so used to saying takeaway that I think when I go back home and order pizza or something, I'm just gonna say like, can I order a pizza for takeaway? And they're gonna say, what? You mean takeout? Anyway, exit, they call it a light here, and I've actually never heard of it. Like, I've never heard somebody say the word a light in a conversation. But when you're on the tube and you're going somewhere, it'll say like Charing Cross Station, a light here for Westminster Abbey. Well, it's the wrong station, but you know what I mean. So instead of saying exit here for whatever monument, they'll say a light here. And then when you get to a final destination in a tube, so if it's like the last station or they're canceling that route for whatever reason, they're just basically telling you to get out, and they'll say, this train is out of service, all change. I didn't know what all change meant. It just basically means to leave, get out of the car. Strange. Vacuum, they call it Hoover, whereas I think Hoover used to be like an actual brand name of a vacuum cleaner, but they just call it Hoover, and they'll make it into a word. They say, oh, are you hoovering tonight or something? Odd. A couple of pronunciation words. They pronounce the word privacy, which I found was really funny. And they pronounce, Pantene, like the shampoo. It's spelled Pantene, Pantene, but they pronounce it Pantene. There's an E at the end, Pantene, but they just call it Pantene. Sunglasses are called sunnies, and very like, when you try to describe somebody who has a very flamboyant character, they call it camp. So they'll say, Johnny's really camp. And at first I was like, what? He's going to camp? No, they actually spell it C-A-M-P. But it just means to be very flamboyant. Don't know where it comes from. I don't even know if it has an origin. But yeah, weird. English muffins are simply called muffins because they're in England. When I first bought English muffins at the grocery store and it said like white muffins, I was like, they're not muffins, they're English muffins. And then I had a big blonde moment. I was like, oh, right, because we're in England. Odd. Desserts are called puddings. Whether one of the things on the dessert menu is actually a pudding, like a chocolate pudding or vanilla pudding, or not, they're all called puddings. I don't know why. They do sometimes call dessert, but if you go to a restaurant or a bar and the menu and there's a heading called puddings, don't think it's all just pudding. There'll be apple crumbles and ice cream and things like that, just desserts. This is a really long list. So why don't I stop this video here? I'm at 13 minutes and 51 seconds, my video clock says. And I'll do another one. I've been getting a lot of feedback from you guys on Instagram and Facebook and things like that, just saying that you guys really enjoy my videos. So thank you for watching, and I'm really glad that it's helping. I've had a few friends, or friends of friends that have become friends now, that have moved here recently from Toronto, and we sit for beers and talk about all these funny things, and they're always saying, it's really insightful, and happy to help, because I remember when I first came, I was just really devastated that I didn't know anybody and I didn't know anything, and it was an awful time. It was really hard. Anyway, yeah, that's it. I'm headed to my very first Kentucky tour this coming Friday, and I'm doing an 8-day sailing trip around Turkey, so I'm really excited about that. So when I come back, I will be very brown. Anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.